Prof. Mokoena, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview with the Progressive Independent Talk Radio TV. When the organizers of this lecture approached you about this particular lecture, what was your feeling and what do you think?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say that I was a bit surprised because there are other people maybe who are more knowledgeable than I am. However, the fact that I was at the medical school with Steve Biko, albeit he was my senior by far, and that I worked with him mainly as a gopher for him, driving, also fetching and carrying, and therefore I've been involved in lots of things that he did. So I agreed. Yes.
So looking at the life of Steve Biko, what would be more memorable for you and to be treasured by the whole society?
The main issue about Steve was his propagation of black consciousness philosophy. And the crux of the black consciousness was that the black man is equal to a white man. Now, remembering that at the time we were at the height of the Verwoerdian apartheid system, where black people were called non-white, which means that we are not anything. And his philosophy was that we shouldn't look at ourselves in the negative, we must look at ourselves in the positive, and that we are not inferior or even different to white, but we must accept our blackness for what it is, and that we should assert our values as black people. And his philosophy about the oppression was that our oppression, which had been going on for 300 years then, has actually unsettled our brains, our minds. So his philosophy was psychological and mental freedom first, and that the rest will follow. And that black man accepts oppression because of his attitude of mind. But if we could look at ourselves as equal to white people, we can fight white people in our own terms and we win. So part of his philosophy was that black people should be self-reliant and self-sufficient, and that black people must engage other nations, particularly white people, on equal terms, and that when that happens, then black men will be free.
You spoke at great length about Steve Biko the man, Steve Biko the family man, Steve Biko the liberator, the religious person, and everything. Looking at this lecture today as the inaugural one, what does this mean and where do you see this in future?
I think what's important, I thought a lot of views, given that is now 47 years since his passing, his youth is beginning to forget this history, and that this memorial lecture, it gives us an opportunity to speak about it, to let the youth know. And then what's important is that the transformation that we see now, as I said in the lecture, has got fingerprints of Steve Biko, because his philosophy and activities, they straddle the whole of human endeavor, whichever, whether it's education, healthcare, economy, and indeed even culture. So going forward, I think we should have more of these, not necessarily on the same theme, but maybe focus on certain aspects of human endeavor and analyze in depth how Steve's actions and philosophy are affecting our people now, or how they can release the people or empower the people currently.
Looking at the present government and how things are done, and if Steve Biko was still alive, where do you think he would be happy, and where do you think he would be disappointed that things are not going according to how he perceived this country to be today? And particularly also looking at the introduction of the Bella Bill Act and the NHI.
Certainly starting with the NHI, because I'm a medical doctor and he was a medical doctor also, so to speak, although he never finished, is that his teachings and actions were for equal provision of healthcare to everyone. Not that healthcare must be a commodity that is bought by those who have, but that society must provide for all its people good healthcare. So the intentions of the National Health Insurance is to afford the citizens equal access to healthcare. I'm sure you'll be very, very pleased about that. About the Bella Act, the Bella Act is trying to make education accessible. Now, I said to you already that his philosophy was that all people are equal. All people must have equal access. And before the Development Act, there were aspects of education that is provided by government that's not accessible to all its citizens. I think that the Bella Act is attempting to make education, certainly education that's provided by government, to be accessible to all its citizens. You'll be happy about that.
And the disappointing parts?
Well, it's difficult to talk about disappointment because he was young when he died, and we were all young. However, I'm sure one thing he would disapprove of is firstly the apparent indifference of our ruling elite towards the plight of our people, together with the visible and undeniable corruption that we see within the ruling class, be they in government or in private, because government officials and politicians cannot be corrupt. They are not corrupt in isolation. They are corrupt together with the businessmen. So you'll be very not only disappointed, I'm sure you'll be angry.
So, Professor, the message to the society out there in memory of Steve Biko, what are you sending out there to the public?
Essentially, his words that our liberation is in our own hands. The population, they need not and they should not leave it to politicians to be trampled like the way some politicians attempt to do. It's up to them to face the politicians, because the politicians cannot do anything without the society and the population in general, allowing them to do.
Professor Mokoena, thank you so much for this opportunity with Progressive Independent Talk Radio TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.